Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to work on the login page. And in order to work on the login page, the first step is that we need to convert the login page from login.html to login.php. So I'm going to rename the page and I'm going to give it the PHP extension. I'm going to say login.php. So this is the first step. Now let me go to the login page. I'm going to say here / and then login.php. This is the login page. So what we need to do is that we need to take the user from this login to the account if they log in successfully. So in the login page, let me open up the login page and let's start working on this. So the first thing is that we need to make sure that the form that we have a form. So we have a form, as you can see, and we have two inputs. We have the email and the password and the login button. So what we need to do is that here in this form, we need to give it action and method. So I'm going to say action. The action is going to be login.php, the same page. And the method is obviously going to be post. And let's work on the logic. But before I work on the logic, we need to give this button, this input, we need to give it a name. So I'm going to say here name, and the name is going to be login btn, login_btn. Now at the top we need to add the PHP code that's going to check and process the login in this page. So here I'm going to say first, I'm going to say include, and then what we want to include is that we want to include the server /connection. And then we want to also include the session. So I'm going to say at the very top, I'm going to say session start, because we need to use the session later. And we need to use if statement to check the button if user clicked on the button, on the login button. So I'm going to say is set post, and is set post login_btn, which is this button. Remember this button that I just gave it a name, login_btn, login_btn. And then here in this login, what we want to do is that we want to get user information. So we need to get the email and the password. I'm going to say email is equal to post email, and the password is equal to post password. And then we need to use the connection in order to connect to the database. So I'm going to say con, and then prepare, and then we need to say select. What do we want to select? We want to select the email, we want to select the user ID and the user ID and the user email and the username as well. I'm going to first say username, user_name, and comma, and then user email, user email, and user password, where from users where user name, user email is equal to question mark and password, user password is equal to question mark. And then we need to say limit 1, we want only one user. And then we need to store this in a variable called statement, stmt. And before I proceed, we need to say here MD5. We need to hash the password in order to compare the password with the hashed password in the database. So here we need to say MD5. And then we want to use this stmt to bind. We need to say stmt and then bind param. And then we want to bind the SS email and password. Email and password. And then we need to execute. We need to say here stmt execute. This is going to execute this query. And then I'm going to here check. I'm going to say if the statement is returns true, then here we have a result. Else we don't have a result. So if this is true, what we want to do is that we need to bind the result. We need to say statement and then bind result. So what are the values that we want to get from the database? We want to get the user ID, we want to get the user name, and we want to get the user email, and we want to get the user password. And then we need to say fetch, statement fetch. We need to fetch the result. But before I fetch the result, I'm going to say if statement num underscore rows is equal to 1, if there's only one user, then we need to fetch. We need to say statement fetch. We need to say here statement and then fetch. Statement stmt and then fetch. This is gonna get the result from the database. And we need to store this fetch in a variable, let's say raw, because this is going to return only one raw. So raw is going to be equal to statement fetch. And here error. Here there must be an error. And that's it. Now we want to get the result from the database. So we can use this raw in order to access these parameters, or we can use these parameters immediately. So if we decide to use these parameters immediately, there is no need to store this in a row. We just need to say fetch, and then we can store now everything in the session. We need to say session, and then user underscore ID is equal to the ID, to user ID, and then username session username session user name is equal to user underscore name. Here, by the way, I should say user underscore name, and here user underscore name, and then session user underscore email is equal to user email, and then session user password. We shouldn't be storing the user password. We don't need to do this, and we shouldn't be doing this actually. The last thing that we need to store in the session is the login status, and here we need to say logged in is equal to true. And that's it. Now, what we want to do is that we want to handle errors. So here, in case of error, we need to say header, and then location, index, location login.php, and then error is equal to something went wrong. And here, in case of success, we just need to take the user to the login page. I'm gonna say to the account page. Location, and then account.php. And here we can say message is equal to logged in successfully. You can display this message to the user. And here, what I need to do here before I test, I need to say statement and then store result. So that's it. Here, in case of success, we need to do this. And that's it. Let me now save, and let me also display the errors. So the errors can be displayed above the form. So above the form, here P, and then style, color, red, and class, text center. And here I'm going to say PHP, and I'm going to say if is set get, if is set get error, then we need to display the error. Echo get error, semicolon. Regarding handling the errors, here in case the row is not equal to 1, then we can also say else, and then we can copy this header and display an error. And here we can say login.php and then error is equal to here could not verify your account, or there is no account with these credentials. And here in case of error, we need to display here something went wrong. And also let me add the registration link here. I'm gonna say href is equal to register.php. Let me go to the login page to test. So first of all, I'm gonna go to the login page and refresh, and I'm gonna here try to log in with the account that I have created earlier with this account. So I know my email and password. Let me here say info@email.com. So if I click on login, as you can see, I will be taken to my account. And if I go back to the login page, let's log in with an email that doesn't exist. So if I try to log in with this with these credentials, it's going to say couldn't verify your account. This is for this part. And the last thing that we need to do is that we need to prevent the user from going to a login page if they are logged in. And to do this, we need to add here. So here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add if statement at the top, and then I'm going to say session is set session logged in logged underscore in. If user is logged in, then we need to take the user to the account page. So I'm going to say here location, header location, and then I'm going to take the user to the account, and then that's it. We just take the user to the account page and we exit in case the session is set. Similarly with the registration page, in order to protect the page completely, we need to, instead of saying else if here, we should actually copy this part and remove it from here and add the curly bracket here. Don't forget the curly bracket. And at the top we need to say here at the top, we need to say if user is logged in, then we take them to the account page. Let's now test. Let me now test this. So now I should be logged in. So if I try to go to the login page, I will not be able to. So if I go to the login, I will not be able to. If I try to go to the register, I will not be able to. As you can see, I will not be able to go to either the registration page or the login page because I'm not logged in.